Hello, hello, lovely souls. It is Sonia reaching out to you with Fresh Approach Fitness, a wellness company. It is Mother's Day 2020, so May 10th, 2020, and we are 7 weeks in to COVID-19, which is the virus that's been keeping everybody under isolation for safety's sake, for health's sakes. But really, it's been an opportunity for many, many, many people to appreciate what they do have in their lives and to step back from the busy and the day-to-day and maybe determine what steps they want to take next, what their future direction looks like, if they're going to go back to what was. In today's episode number 7, as I've mentioned, we are going to talk about how to get started, staying on track in terms of motivation and goals, and then how to turn inspiration into action. And these are some thoughts to consider when it comes to changes and decisions that you're trying to make in your life. As I just mentioned in the intro, many of us had to do an instant change, and some of us haven't had that change yet, but I'm sure we've all been impacted one way or another. And we didn't have a lot of decisions. We've had to adapt to decisions forced upon us, whether it was losing your job or scaling back your hours or trying to homeschool your children while you are also expected to work, and just trying to do it all, or maybe both of your household has been laid off and you don't have a job to go back to. In this case, all of these decisions were quick that we had to work on. So today we're going to talk about getting started, staying on track in terms of motivation, goals, and decisions. But before we get started, I want to let everybody know a personal reflection of mine over the week. And last Tuesday, May the 5th, my grandson was born. So excited. What a blessing to be bringing into today's society. New hope, new love, new life. I was with my daughter throughout the whole process. We spent 4 days in the local hospital between being admitted and going through the delivery process and then the labor and recovery. I have to say, my daughter did truly amazing, and what a blessing to see. And B, the nurses at the hospital were spectacular. The doctor was amazing. Hats off. They are risking their lives every single day, and they make us feel welcome, and they took good care of us. I'm just full of gratitude and appreciation for everybody that was part of our journey over the last week. Baby Hudson, that's his name, Hudson James, is safe, happy, and healthy, and so is my daughter. So that is my personal reflection of the week. The reason why I want to start sharing my personal reflections of the week is because sometimes things happen where we have to pause our motivation, our goals, our plans. Sometimes we can propel forward. But last week, I'll be honest, I was getting my rhythm with tracking my food again, with exercising on a daily basis after we had to close the studio, set everything back up in the house, do a lot of shuffling around to find room for both a home office and a studio within the confinements of our house, and have everything settled in and organized, and then get back into a workout routine. So I had just started. But last week, I put all of my goals on pause. And that happens. It happens throughout the year. Sometimes it happens throughout the week. Sometimes it happens throughout the day. You make a decision and it's not the decision you wish you made. That's okay. Putting pause is okay. When you can press play again whenever you are ready. So yesterday I worked out. I've been paying attention to my foods, making smaller choices at each meals. Even last week when I was making food choices as I was in the hospital, they were calculated food choices. even though you're pressing pause, you're not necessarily stopping, but you may not be as tuned in as if you would be otherwise. So that is my personal reflection of the week, my grandson being born, my sharing the experience with my beautiful older daughter, and how sometimes we need to press play. Today we're going to dig a little bit deeper about that and talk about when it comes to motivation and goals, how we're going to turn that inspiration into action, how there's a reward attached to that. My reward after this podcast, not just because of the podcast, but because of healthy food choices and because of beginning a fitness regime again and making some commitments, my reward is to hop onto Amazon and buy 2 books tonight. I've never done that before. I would typically give myself a reward of going to Chapters and browsing and taking as much time as I wanted and reading all the covers of the books, but that's not going to happen. That can't happen right now. The stores are closed and we're not allowed to go anywhere. But I'm definitely going to go online as a reward for what I did do when it came to planning and being prepared, being accountability, and the emotions behind my decisions. Because all of those things have been in play for the last 6 weeks, my reward is 2 books. So as we're listening to the podcast today, I want you to think about what your reward could be. What is it going to look like to you? When our children were little, we learned the best way to get them to do something is through a reward system. And you're probably thinking, well, I don't know. I don't like to reward my kids they should just do things, right? Yeah, I have 3 kids myself. I would love to say they will just do things, but let's take you back to the potty training stage. We first taught them, introduced them to the toilet, and then we either put them on them or put them in front of them and worked with them with cues from their body, emotional cues, mindset, and a reward system. So there's action in there as well, but at the end, their result, their reason for continuing to go potty on the toilet was because they got a reward. So that reward encouraged good behavior. Consider what reward you're going to give yourself for a goal that you have achieved. Typical reward for me is bath with bubbles and candles and maybe a tea. Love that reward. And I do try to put that in once a week. But what are your rewards? What are you doing to continue to encourage yourself to propel forward? I'd like to encourage you to fall in love with taking care of yourself. It's going to look different for everybody, but it's certainly going to help you turn inspiration into action. I hope this podcast today helps you elevate the way you think. Because if you don't elevate the way you think, you're not going to change anything of it to what you've done in the past and where you're at. You're reaching out, you're listening to these podcasts because you're looking for fresh ideas, a different mindset, a different way of seeing through the lenses. So give yourself permission to elevate the way you think and ask yourself, is the decisions that you are making right now, are they serving you? Are they serving your goals? So if you're trying to lose weight, are you paying attention to what you're eating? Are you doing any kind of planning or preparation? Are you journaling your affirmations? What is it that you're doing to keep yourself on track for losing weight? That's the first question. The second one is what you're doing working? Are you getting results from the action you've taken? If no, that's okay. If yes, that's okay. Maybe you're not getting the results you're looking for, or maybe everything is exactly progressing the way you want it to be. Even better. Don't change a thing. But if you're not paying attention to what you're doing right now, I would start to track it. You can use, I have something called Creative Collections, which is a combination of journaling, bullet journaling, and a calendar schedule type set of paperwork. It's really hard to describe, but it works in conjunction with your goals, your hobbies, your interests, and your finances. I call it Creative Collections. We can talk about this at any time, or you can reach out to me. I actually use it as my own personal day timer with customized pages put in based on my goals and what I'm trying to achieve and what that looks like. So you can use a habit tracker within your Creative Collections booklet, which again, we can put together. With that, you can set up ways of keeping yourself accountable and on track. Even if you just begin by identifying what you're doing right now on a daily basis to give you the success that you're achieving. And this is if you're on track, my friends. If you're not on track, just pause for a second. You can come back to this. Just hear us out. But for those that are having success right now, you've gotten yourself into a groove. You are perhaps exercising regularly. Maybe you're tracking your food. Whatever it is that you're doing, start writing down every major thing that you do throughout the day. Identify it. If it's something that you're doing every single day, start writing down the little things that are different and how you feel those days. So maybe you don't eat carbs for breakfast and you notice that your energy is higher. You were having success, but now you notice that you have more success on the days that you don't eat carbs for breakfast. Or is there a difference on the way you feel if you journal in the morning? Or if you journal at night? Or if you don't journal at all? Identify what you're doing and how it's working for you. Because obviously if you're having success, it is working for you. But for those that are not having the desired results that they are working so hard to achieve, or my friends, if you're just thinking about change of any type in your life, whether it's financial change, whether it's nutrition, whether it's fitness, whether it's mindset, whether it's any other stressor that doesn't fall into one of those 4 categories, what is it that you're doing regularly, and is it serving you? Is it giving you the desired results? So if it's not giving you the desired results, we're going to want to make some changes. But we don't know where to start making changes until we know what we're doing. So that leads to my next question for you. Do you have a plan? Now you've identified some of those action steps of what's working or not working and some areas that you can possibly try to make some changes. So how are you going to approach that plan? How are you going to optimize the way you think to make a difference? You're obviously looking for different results. That's clear in your goals. But what are you going to do differently to set yourself up for success? That is when we step into the accountability portion. So before we go there, I want to remind you that every choice is a chance. So you may be craving junk food. Maybe, you're just emotionally exhausted. You don't want to cook dinner. You just want to go to McDonald's. Or somebody triggered you and you want to go out. So you know that you've got this fitness plan. You know that you're doing well with your nutrition. You want to lose 40 pounds. You want to gain strength. And you want to perhaps put on your favorite pair of jeans or anything in your closet and know that it fits amazingly. Or perhaps you're ready to rock a really cool bikini in the summer. A lot of moms want that again after they've had babies. But more importantly, what if you don't want to take your diabetes medicine anymore? What if you went to the doctors and they said that you're pre-diabetic, and if you don't make any changes, your next step will be on pills, and you don't want that for the rest of your life? Maybe there's a family history of addiction. Addiction is addiction, my friends. It can be a food addiction. It can be alcohol addiction. It can be narcotics. If you have an addictive personality, you will notice it across the board. And you will notice it in 2 categories for sure: finances and fitness. Pause for 1 second and think about that. Most people, if they pay attention to one area, they pay attention to the other. So if their fitness goals are in alignment and they are pretty healthy, physically fit 90% of the time or 80% of the time. They live a very, very healthy lifestyle. And I'm not talking a fitness geek here. I'm not talking somebody that lives it, breathes it, won't spend their day without it. I'm talking to somebody that has a balance in their life. So maybe they exercise 2 or 3 times a week and they eat pretty healthy most of the times, but they do know how to indulge. They get good sleep. They just know that taking care of themselves and their well-being is a priority. For those people that are likely in pretty good shape, both on the inside and the outside, and certainly mentally, those people, their finances are going to match their physical. And it is very surprisingly accurate. Just think about who you know right now and compare their physical health with their financial health. You don't even have to dig deep. You can just ballpark it. But the priorities align in more than one way in people's lives. So you can see a reflection of where they're at and the choices that they make. So an addiction is an addiction is an addiction. It doesn't matter what it is. Again, the mindset piece is what that's going to make all of the difference. Learning how to shift the energy through you one way or another, whether it's physically, whether it's through the mindset when it comes to keeping yourself on track and accountable and having a plan and knowing what action you're going to take and either working it forward or working it backwards. And what I mean by that is somebody might want to lose 40 pounds, as I was using in my earlier example. And maybe the first week they lose 2 pounds. Maybe they just start saying that they've got 38 pounds left to go versus 40 pounds. So you can count 2 up, or you can count 38 down on the 40. It doesn't really matter. But for some people, that mindset is huge because you're getting closer and closer and closer to 0 if you start at the 40 and count down, right? If you go to 2, it seems like you've got a long way to go. Exactly. If you're trying to release weight off your body, you're not trying to lose it. You're trying to release weight. You don't want it back. So the problems with most diets is A, the mindset, and the choices that we make. We don't stop and realize that every choice is a chance. It's okay if you had McDonald's today. Eat a healthy dinner. Try to go to bed without dessert. Make up for it tomorrow by doing healthier choices. One little healthier choice at every single meal. It could be half the butter on your toast. It could be a protein and fat kind of breakfast and a snack with maybe a nice light soup at lunch. And you're not starving yourself. You're not putting that on pause. You're just making small decisions that are 1% better than the day before in the same area. That is going to help you plan and prepare. That is going to help you realize that every choice is a chance. There are going to be cravings. Those cravings we can get through. There are other cravings in our lives that we do not act on. So if you're really, really hungry, if you really, really, really want to blow it, do what you can not to act on those cravings first, and that's one of your action steps. The second one is downsize. If you really want McDonald's, do you need a Big Mac and fries? Could you get a Big Mac and small fry? Could you get a kid's cheeseburger and small fry? Could you get something different to make it a little bit better? Right? That is a great choice to be making. So how are you going to keep yourself accountable? What are you going to do? There are a couple of options. You can let a friend, a trusted friend, a supportive friend know what your goals are and that you would like them to help keep you accountable. So maybe ask them to be a check-in point, or if you don't hear from me, then please reach out. I really want to help these goals, and I know you've done it before. Something like that. It's going to make the person feel good, and you're going to have the support and love that you need to get through the rough patches. People that have that are in AA, they don't do it alone. What makes you think you can do this journey alone? You're not meant to do this alone. So if you've had success, oh my goodness, hats off, good for you. Share what you've learned and keep going. Identify what is working. But for those that are struggling and you've tried this and you've tried that and you've done this program and you've exercised way too much, but it's not working, we need to identify why it's not working. You need to stop and ask yourself why it's not working. Ask yourself, is what you're doing serving you? Are you getting the desired results? And in order to make those changes, you want to keep yourself accountable. So you can ask a friend to help you. You could hire an accountability partner. Fresh Approach Fitness could work as your accountability partner with any of our groups that we have online, any of our mindset, and or even as working with me directly as an accountability coach. Definitely an option. You could journal. You can make yourself a practice to journal and do that health tracker every single day so you can see your success. And you can set yourself up with a reward system. But you don't get your reward unless you connect with your accountability partner and they assign it for you. How's that? How's that for blending the two? It's definitely an option. But the one thing I suggest is don't let your ego get in the way of your growth. You are looking for change. You're looking for change for whatever reason you're not satisfied with the person you are right now. Whether it's a better job, whether it's fear of the unknown, whether it's changing your bank account, changing the way you walk with your back straighter and your chest up and your chin high. Maybe it's a change of the smile on your face and you really want to smile with your eyes because people can't see your lovely face anymore because you're wearing a mask. You're looking for change. So the best way to get change is don't let your ego settle for growth. I said that wrong. Don't let your ego get in the way of your growth. Always be learning, always be growing. I'm sure you have lots of questions for me. Remember, any single time you have questions, you can reach me at Sonia at freshapproachfitness.ca or soniajanice@gmail.com. I have one more bit of information that I wanted to go over with you. You know, it's the emotional scale, the emotions behind every decision that you are making. You're either feeding the fire or fueling your desire. So, mental breakdown, bored, exhausted, restless, whatever emotion you're feeling. Remember earlier example, we went down and we decided we were going to McDonald's. I know, right? A nutrition coach talking about McDonald's on a mindset podcast. Woohoo! That's stellar. But we can all relate, and that's exactly why I'm using it. There is emotion tied up to every single decision that you are making. And those emotions can be anything. Some of them I like to talk about the energy. You know, does it make you excited? The passion. Does this decision bring you confidence? Does this decision align with your beliefs? These are some of the emotions that you are thinking of with every decision that you make, whether it's food choices, fitness, finances, buying decisions, even your business and personal relationships will fall into any of these categories, and they have energy and emotions attached behind every single decision. So when you think about your goal and you go forward with an action that you want to take, or you're inspired to take action, and there's a sense of feelings and emotion that jump out of you, try to identify what those are. You want to be aiming on the side of the emotions that make you feel good, that get you excited, that make you feel passionate, or that instantly put that smile on your face. You want something that's going to light you up. So if you make a decision and you're not happy about it, pay attention to those emotions. That's not in alignment with where you want to go with your goals and desires. So I am sure Fresh Approach Fitness can help you make a difference in this area. I really am. What we do is we work with a lot of people in terms of helping their decisions match their goals. Understanding the emotion connection that comes with making decisions and becoming more intuitive with the signals that our body gives us, or our thoughts, or the gut instinct, or the inspiration behind the action that we're about to take. All of that helps you turn inspiration into action. And you need to really think about, with every decision, you're either feeding the fire or you're fueling the desire. So what is it that you want? Do you want those results that you think about every single night? How important is that goal to you? And that's where I would start. I would start with putting on a scale of 1 to 10. This goal is a 10. Here is why. Ask yourself why 7 times. That'll help you get to the real reason as to why that goal is important. Based on everything we just went through for COVID, how important is it to you to pay off your debt? How important is it to you to have enough money in your bank account to last for 3 to 6 months? You know, many of us didn't make that a priority in the past because people were living paycheck to paycheck and day to day. And that's the way we spend a lot of our decisions, is a last minute decision, day to day. There's very little planning and preparation. There is not a reward system in place, as we all know works successfully, or we would all still be in diapers, right? There is accountability. There is a lot of action that's turned into inspiration. But how many of us do the personal reflection? What can you be proud of? What have you done today to help bring you 1% closer to your goals? On that note, you know that I'm here at any time to help you with any kind of wellness coaching, especially energetic releases or healthy eating and weight loss. Of course, the fitness plans as well. We have 3 paid groups on Facebook, as low as $10 a month, as high as $20 a month right now, and different podcasts, quizzes. Go to asksonia.ca to access any of the quizzes, which is a great way to access me, and I will be back in touch with you with whatever is upcoming in those areas. And we are here at any time to help you stay on track with your motivation, goals, and desires, help you get started, and help you plan, be accountable, and understand the emotions behind every single one of your decisions. Well, I am signing off for another week. Once again, it's Sonia with Fresh Approach Fitness, a wellness company. And thank you so very much for chiming in. We are working on getting some sponsorships. So I encourage you to like us, mark us as a favorite, follow us, and make sure you go online at Fresh Approach Fitness on any of the social platforms or Sonia Janice. And like and follow us and tag us there on some posts, because you would love to know that some of our sponsorships that we've got coming up and guest speakers are going to add so much more depth to the show. You're going to get rewarded for listening, for asking questions. So I would love that engagement to start now. For anybody that does engagement, shares the post, likes it, gets back to us over at Fresh Approach Fitness, gets back to me, sorry, your name will go into a draw for a prize at the end of May. I'm not going to tell you what that is. You're going to have to stay tuned. I will announce more at next week's show. So till then, my friends, have yourself a great week. Take care. Stay safe. And it's Sonia chiming out with Fresh Approach Fitness, a wellness company.